Good morning, everyone. We will be starting our webinar in a couple of minutes. Hi, good morning, everyone. Again, today is we will be talking about restaurant marketing, and we will start our webinar in a couple of minutes. Um, Good morning, everyone. We will be starting our the webinar for this month, which is restaurant marketing, why a particular restaurant needs marketing, and what are the things that or components of a restaurant marketing. Um, so, uh, before we start, a little bit about ourselves, about OTM Connect, where when we have started, and what we are. So we have started the company in 2015 as data-driven restaurant marketing platform. Right. What it means is where we focus on restaurants, and we are focused on customer engagement, where we have actually come up with what we call as the A to A model, where we um, This is the journey that like a customer is part of when he or she engages with or interacts with the restaurant brand. So they walk through these five stages: awareness, engagement, acquisition, loyalty, and advocacy. At each stage, the customer is when they're interacting with the restaurant brand, they would give out some data in terms of their preferences, their personal information, their demographics, and all these kind of things. And our model or our platform enables restaurants to walk through or enable restaurants to kind of like help through this engagement or through this life cycle and collects customer data, which will enable them to kind of like more come up with personalized marketing actions. Having said that, again, as you said, like as a company, M Connect is focused on customer engagement, customer models, and customer data with their interactions. And we today's in our webinar today, which is all about restaurant marketing budget, we will talk more in terms of this A to A model and based on our experiences. So again, when it comes to restaurant marketing, right? When we talk about restaurant marketing, it's not just you can take whatever we are talking. It's not just for this particular for a restaurant, but you can kind of like expand this to even to small businesses. But most of the examples that we will be giving throughout this webinar is around our experiences with our clients in terms of what we have seen, what we have learned, what our research has shown. So when it comes to a marketing budget, right, for your restaurant, these are the high level activities that you need to do. And today's topic is very central or dear to us, given the fact that because of the COVID-19, we have seen a lot of changes within the restaurant industry, and we have and the fact that like more and more people are going online and trying to place an order online, and customer preferences have changed. So, from a restaurant's perspective, it is super important that you come up with your own marketing objectives, right? In the sense that's the very first step that you need to do. Okay, I want to make sure that my restaurant should have more customers. That could be one of your, obviously, that would be the primary objective. But also, I would like to see that my restaurant's COVID precautions that we are taking is good so that my end customers will feel safe to come to my restaurant or place an order online. Then you need to if another objective could be that okay, I want to hire more people. I want to let my team members know or potential team members know that we will actually that they can actually come and work here. So obviously, from an expansion point of view or from an operations point of view, you'll have more number of employees who are joining your team and all those kind of things. So at the end of the day, you're basically looking at what are your marketing objectives that you want to have. And then based on these objectives, you need to kind of think about your marketing channels in the sense that, okay, which channels, for example, again, given the fact that more and more people are going online to place an order online. So your channels would be social media channels, online channels. It could be grassroots. It would be community partnerships, and all these kind of channels you need to actually think of from a making sure that whatever your marketing objectives are, those are reached in terms of your goals and all those things. And then once you decide on your channels, you need to start thinking about the budget. Okay, I'm going to spend X number of dollars on social media or X number of dollars on email marketing, or I'm going to do X number of dollars for local ads and all those kind of things in local newspapers or something or community partnerships. So you have to have this budget, and then you have to start working on your marketing plan, and in terms of like, okay, if this is my objective, again, for example, let's say your objective is to make sure that you actually have, again, as an example, you want to actually tell your customers that you are ready to launch a new, again, I'm just giving an example, right? Like where you're trying to say you're launching a new recipe, or a new menu item or something like that. So that means you want to let know your existing customers. Maybe at that point of time you have to think about your email marketing, social media, and all those kind of things. But you also want to go and reach out to your foodies who want to feature this particular menu item. And so you need to come up and think of like, okay, this is my objective, so I need to have, these are the channels, I need to have this kind of collateral, or um, some kind of like uh, marketing, media that I would need to have in order for me to achieve this objective, this goal, this channels, and all those kind of things, right? um, and then again, the whole point here, given the fact that we always keep telling that even before you start a restaurant, you need to start looking at your marketing. The reason being that you want to make sure that your potential customers or your current customers know about what is actually happening within your restaurant, and it is very, very important. It should be an exercise by itself in terms of whenever you think of about opening a restaurant, or on an ongoing basis, in terms of what you need to do in terms of making sure that there is a very, very specific marketing goal, along with a budget that you would like to have, and making sure that you are like hitting those objectives in terms of what I want to do with my marketing, and what are the numbers that I'm actually spending on the marketing, and what is the return on investment in terms of the marketing channels, and all those kind of things, right? So, having said that, the very first thing is you need to make sure that you are setting up your goals in terms of what you want to achieve. So, it could be like as big as saying that I want to basically become a franchisable brand. So that means you need to make sure that, okay, we are not talking about the operations part of things, right? We're talking more in terms of your goal as to what you want to achieve within the next maybe 12, within a year, which is 12 months, or maybe I want to say, okay, for this month, these are my marketing objectives. Like, again, for example, if you're talking about the month of April, right, then you might want to say, like, in the next 15 days, you have to have those saying that, okay, I want to make sure that I have like 20 online orders. I want to have like 100 seats in who are going to actually come to my restaurant. So now, if you want to actually have 20 online orders, again, as an example, right? So that means you need to have maybe reaching out to 2,000 people who will actually hear about your restaurant, out of which, again, from an A to A model point of view, right? 2,000 people have become aware of this brand called Restaurant XYZ. And then from there, you want to engage with them, right? So if your goal is to actually have, let's say, 20 orders, you might want to say, okay, I'm going to actually run a campaign called buy one, get one free on Facebook or something like that. So you basically make sure that you have a very definitive goal in terms of what you want to achieve from your marketing point of view. And then you need to say, okay, if I want to, again, going back to this example, if I want to have 20 online orders, I want to make sure that at least 200 people actually come to my landing page or to my particular campaign, which I'm actually running, so that out of this 200 people, 20 people will get converted of placing an order, and all those kind of things, right? So if that's the kind of thing, again, from a marketing point of view, if that is your goal, and then you need to see, okay, going back to this case, right? Like, what am I actually doing in order to achieve that particular goal? Am I running some campaigns? Am I actually doing any kind of activities that would actually are in line with my marketing objectives, so that you're kind of doing a baseline in terms of where you stand with regards to your current objectives, and then you need to actually kind of say that, okay, if it, again, this is an example, right? Like you say your goal is to get 20 orders, and then at that point of time, your current budget is, again, for simple terms, let's say you're basically spending $100, right? So, and then you actually have Facebook and Instagram as your primary channels in terms of where you are present. Now, to reach to 20 orders, you might want to actually say, okay, I need another marketing or another channel, maybe email communication that I want to reach out to, because I already have a database of customers who already have actually come to my restaurant or actually have shown interest in my restaurant in terms of um, um, giving their emails and all those kind of things, right? So with that, again, your marketing objectives is basically making sure that you are reaching out to 2,000 people, and then you want to make sure that, like, you want to convert them into kind of in terms of, like, basically converting them into 20 orders out of these 2,000 people who are you're reaching out. That's your marketing objective for this particular month, right? And again, n number of times we have actually said that, like, whenever you are thinking of some goals or objectives, you need to make sure end of the day you are able to reach those goals in terms of whether you can actually measure them. And this is the acronym that are very, very, like, common, right? In a sense, like, where you are basically saying that, is it able to, like, are you able to measure them, right? Are you able to basically are these achievable goals, right? Like, again, end of the day, you want to say that, okay, my goal is to get 20 orders. So this is very much achievable. You're not basically saying, I want to get to 20,000 orders, because if your current goal is, like, or your current volume is, like, say, 20 orders, and you are trying to say, okay, my stretch is to increase it by 100%, which is to 40 orders, maybe that is attainable. Again, just giving as an example, right? But you want to say, I want to increase from 20 orders to 2,000 orders. Again, whether that is attainable or not, you as a business owner have to think, because that would actually have a lot of ramifications in terms of morale, in terms of, like, whatever you're trying to, like, basically aim high, but at the same time you need to make sure that those are attainable and within the reach, so that you can kind of build upon whatever you're doing from marketing campaigns perspective, whether your goal is attainable or not. And it has to be obviously relevant, right? Again, if you look at from an A to A perspective, right? From a marketing point of view, you can actually have goals around increasing the awareness of your brand, or you as a restaurant owner want to engage your customers more, which is the second line of customer interactions, or you want to increase your online or your increase your acquisition, which is basically number of orders or people walking into the store, and those kind of things. Or you want to increase your loyal customers. If you have like 10 people within your loyalty club, you want to actually increase them to 20 or something like that, which is relevant, right? So you want to make sure you have to have a relevant marketing objective, and it has to be obviously within a time bound, right? Like, you want to achieve these goals within a month and all those kind of things. Once you have achieved these goals, or once you have actually defined them, you start looking at the channels. Again, from a channels perspective, today, if you look at it, as a customer, the customer is getting information from multiple channels, right? The channels include yours on the regular culprits right now, like social media, online, and your website, your email marketing, and then your local presence, maybe billboards, or your partnerships with partnerships within the community, or your existing customers. They themselves are actually a marketing channel, right? So you have to kind of, like, look at all these channels that you want to focus on, and then that would actually say that, okay, going forward, I would like to spend so much money on these channels if this is my objective. Again, bear in mind, as we have seen n number of times, you as a restaurant owner need to make sure that you are focusing on your goal, and in order for you to reach the goal, what are the different channels, and then obviously depending upon the channels, you need to come up with your budget, right? If you look at these are the number of specific kind of like budgets that most of the restaurants have been spending, and again based on the research. And the budget, when we are talking about this budget, right, it goes in line with what's your marketing objective is. Like for example, again, if your marketing objective is to establish yourself as a community leader, maybe a combination of social media campaign where you're talking about like what you have done with regards to your presence as a as a community partner, and then reaching out to the local churches, schools, and all those kind of things would that would be your primary goal. So you need to spend more money on those kind of campaigns along with your local marketing efforts and all those kind of things, right? So end of the day, it all your budget, your budget and your channels are actually driven by what exactly you want to do with regards to your this one. And since early 2000s, we have seen the advent of social media, and we're not going to actually talk about the very the importance of social media, and given the fact that you as a small restaurant owner can have these powerful tools from a social media marketing perspective where you can look at different channels, and then you can actually kind of slice and dice. Okay, if I want to reach out to these customers, I can actually do some little bit of postings on multiple channels, and able to reach to my customers who are already or fans of these ones, right? These are the regular channels you actually have. Given again, you actually, as you see more and more um, channels are coming up, right? Like you actually have the regular Facebook, Instagram, and all these things, and different platforms again have their own importance in terms of where you actually see that Facebook by and large is the most popular channel, but you actually have like new channels which actually come up with like the TikToks, and then you actually have Clubhouse and different channels. Again, end of the day, you want to make sure that depending upon what your objective is, and you need to define your budget, and based on that, you need to come up with the channels. Again, these are by far Facebook and Instagram are the most popular channels, given the fact on Instagram you have a lot of foodies and ability to display your food items, ability to do videos, stories, and all these kind of things, which are likely impacted quite a lot. And the thing is, like in terms of from an ads perspective, right, like we have seen the organic reach going down, and the ability to for you as a restaurant owner to focus on what kind of like customers you want to focus on, and all these kind of things that would actually enable you to select your potential customers for you to reach out to, is the most powerful tool that all these social media channels actually enable, right? So end of the day, if your target segment is let's say 40 years old plus who loves football, and basically who live within the next 3 to 5 mile radius, and who also like eating out, and basically who also like let's say Hall of Fame or something like that. Those are the kind of attributes that you can actually select from a channel's perspective, and then again make sure that whatever channels you are selecting, you need to have a good mix of multiple channels, because as a customer, if you think of as an end customer, right, they are getting information from multiple channels, and you want to make sure that the same messaging is actually going out through these channels, right? Again, we are talking specifically in terms of the ads. Organic reach is one thing where you can actually do regular postings and interactions and all those kind of things. But given the fact that there are a lot many restaurants out there who are competing for the same target segment or for the same customers who are within the 3 to 5 mile radius, it's imperative that you need to start focusing on the digital ads. And then obviously, main culprits are here. You actually have the Google ads, right, where you can actually spend in terms of remarketing, or even just trying to do some kind of ads on maybe Waze, or it could be on multiple channels within Google ecosystem itself, right? Because you actually have so many options for you to kind of start running on that one. And then you actually have Facebook and Instagram, where right now, given that they are, and WhatsApp as well, the ability to kind of like start working on coming up with ads in terms of on these popular channels, where again, depending upon your objective, whether if you are looking in terms of increasing your online orders, or if you're increasing, trying to make sure more people join your loyalty program, or you want to tell people that, hey, if you join the loyalty program today, you're going to actually get X points or maybe something free and all those kind of things. So you can actually set up all these objectives on Facebook and start running ads and all those kind of things. Similarly with YouTube ads. Um, Again, you actually have the other channels is like basically your emails, right? In the sense that, okay, what are the different things that you can actually drive, and these are the emails that are actually uh, um, these are the emails that you're actually getting from different sources, in terms of whether they've already placed an online order with you, or they have given their information to be part of your email campaigns and all those kind of things. So that is very, very important that you actually have. And obviously, there are a lot of email platforms out there, like MailChimp, which is our preferred email, this one, because it's free and a lot of tools and all those kind of things, right? Again, so depending upon this one, you can actually start using email marketing, right? So another channel is basically SMS, right, where you are actually sending out. This is very powerful, and you want to make sure that you get explicit permission from the customers for them to receive your SMS messages, which is because today the most ubiquitous, or wherever you see people actually have their phones in their hands, and the emails are bound to be read like the higher percentages, right? And so that means you need to make sure that you have a very specific messaging that you can actually focus on. Again, we will talk about like what should be the content and all those kind of things, but making sure that you are focusing on these channels, right? In terms of like your social media, your emails, your SMS, and then within this one itself, you have actually the chat bots, where you can have ability to interact with the customers and all those things. Another channel is your website, right? Obviously, right now, I think as of this month or starting next month, Google is going to actually, it has to be mobile optimized, or it should be mobile first kind of a thing, right? So making sure that you actually have all the information with regards to your uh, 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 all the information regarding your website has to have mobile optimized. It has to be have the right keywords and all those kind of things. So maybe whenever people are searching for like pizza places around me, or catering options or something like that, your website should be one of the, again, when we talk about this one, right? Like coming up at the very top, it's not just having some kind of keywords on the website would actually make a difference, but there are a lot of other things that you need to make sure that it is having the right pictures and all those kind of things. Where it, again, we talked about this one, right? Mobile indexing and all those things, right? And making sure you have the right keywords, and you need to make sure that your website is registered in all of your online presence. In terms of, we have seen a lot many times where Google, when people are searching for it, maybe the first thing is they go to Google and search for something. So make sure that you actually have access to your Google My Business account and all those kind of things, and other directories, right? Like you need to make sure that you are listed on Yelp, you're listed on next door you're actually taking care of your bin places. So all these are like the primary things or the very first steps that you need to do in order for you to kind of like make sure that your presence online is accurate and tells all the right information about your opening hours and all those kind of things, right? And if you are looking at some mobile apps, that is another channel you might want to focus on. But most of the times we keep on telling most of our clients, if it's a mom and pop place trying to come up with your own mobile app, even though there are a lot of positives and all those kind of things, but from an adoption point of view, it's not. First thing is obviously creating mobile apps. The cost has gone down drastically, but it is still an expense. But more than the expense part of it, you making sure that your end customers actually download the app and use the app. That is the most important thing, because like your customers have to give their real estate on their phones, which is the most premium spot to basically run your app. And then they have to open the app on a constant basis. So you need to make sure that all these things you have to look into when thinking about a mobile app, right? And then in terms of the other channels that you want to focus is like what we call as local marketing, or trying to look at your or offline marketing in terms of mails direct to your doors, or you're basically doing USPS. And if you have like again, make sure that if you're like a franchisee or you want to grow as a business, you want to basically put on billboards. And again, these are expensive channels, but at the same time, it's hard to say how many people are actually looking at that particular billboard and actually walking into my door. So these are some of the channels that you might want to consider. But again, if you are a bigger or a smaller mom and pop stores, maybe your primary objective should be more on the social media channels and all those kind of things, right? But again, these are some of the things that you as a so you're like looking at all these channels and trying to say how much should I be spending again from marketing budget point of view, right? That's the goal where you're saying if I have to go for, do I have the budget for billboards? Do I have the budget for community events? So right, and then depending upon these channels, right, you need to again look at like, okay, if my objective is to get, again, thinking of this, my objective is to get 20 online orders. So that means maybe my budget has to actually, or my investment has to go on online channels itself. It could be social media, search marketing, in terms of email marketing, SMS marketing, because these are the channels when people look at it, they click on some ads and they will actually start like placing an online orders and all those kind of things, right? So um, again, your objective has to be, is the primary driver in terms of the channels, and then in terms of like which channels to focus on to make sure that you're actually getting the right outcome of those particular campaigns that you're running, right? If you look at it again, this is some channel, like in terms of what channels that you need to use in order for you to make sure that you are getting the return on investment, or returns, right? By far, you actually have Instagram and Facebook are the most popular channels. Again, Instagram because of the ability to for you to post some pictures, where people are looking at it and they'll say, "Oh wow, this is a nice picture. Maybe I might want to actually have like a place an order there and then sell because they like that picture, or they got a feed from their foodie, local foodie who's following something and all those kind of things, right? So making sure that again you have your objective. Based on the objective you have selected your channels, and then you are looking at what is the budget that you need to run on, right? So in terms of, from a process point of view, right, when you're thinking about, again, as an example, if you're looking at 20 extra online orders for this particular week, or for this particular month, you need to see that, okay, my average order is, let's say, $30. So I'm actually looking at an additional revenue of $600. If, if I am, out of which, maybe let's assume this way, that my net profit is let's say 10%, right? So I'm basically earning $60 as my profit. Now, to earn $60, how much of a money should I be spending, right? Like again, just bear in mind when you're spending, let's assume as $10 or $15 or whatever with the budget, right? You need to look at your cost of acquisition, customer acquisition, plus what is the overall revenue or overall value of that particular customer that you're acquiring, right? Is it a new customer, or do you want to increase your this online orders from existing customer base itself? So depending upon that, then you can actually kind of say, okay, this is my budget for to get another 20 online orders more. So I'm going to actually spend maybe some things with out of which 10 orders can actually come from my current customers, and then I need to get 10 new orders from new customers. So I might actually have to spend a little bit more because the cost of acquisition at that point of time to get these 10 customers is a little bit higher than what I can actually get from the existing one, right? Um, so depending upon your status in terms of where you are, you have to kind of look at what percentage of revenues, again, depending upon the stage of your restaurant as well. If you're a new brand, then you need to spend a little bit more because just think about it from the A to A model, right? People are not aware of your brand, so that means you need to kind of create the awareness. So that means that you need to spend a lot more money in terms of your social media, in terms of your billboards, in terms of your local community partnerships, and all those kind of things, right? But if you are already established, that means you already have a database. So that means your budget is a little bit lower because you're focusing on your current customers to kind of come back and place these 20 online orders, but you still want to have a fresh set of customers who are actually walking into the door and all those kind of things, right? And then in terms of the from a budgeting perspective itself, right? You need to make sure that you focus on the ROI in the sense that if I'm actually spending, let's assume to get my 20 online orders, I'm spending, you shouldn't be spending like more than $60, right? If that's your net profit or something like that, right? In the sense that then you'll be actually losing money at that point of time. So is it possible for me to kind of say that, okay, I am going to spend more on SMS marketing because that's what I've seen for my SMS marketing. Maybe I might be spending to send to 200 people. I would actually send a message. It would cost me around like $20 or something like that. Again, as an example, right? So your focus always has to be that you need to constantly focusing on, okay, how much am I spending? The spending should also include not just the ad spend. Let's assume you're giving like one plus one offer. Even that would be your cost of marketing itself in the sense that instead of earning, let's assume your cost of like basically your pizza is $1 or something like that. Again, as an example, right? So if you're giving away a pizza for free, that means you're basically giving $1 away. So you need to account that into your marketing budget as well, right? Or else you need to make sure that from a budgeting point of view, whenever you are trying to increase your online orders, and if it is not coming through because of multiple reasons, it's just that like there is a lot of fear within the community, or your message is not being clear that you're actually having this offer called one plus one offer. So you need to constantly make sure that you are focusing in terms of, okay, is this is my budget, and if this is my objective, I spend this budget, am I actually seeing the results in terms of that, in terms of like whether I'm actually getting returns on investment and all those kind of things, right? Once you have done that, when we talk about the marketing mix, right, it in terms, there are a lot of things that you need to look at, right, in terms of what is the content that you're going to actually do. Again, as an example, we are talking about, let's say, one plus one offer for you to reach this 20 online orders. So that means what kind of ads will you run, right? Where all you will be running, how much of money you will be spending. All these kind of things is when you need to start looking at, and then starting focusing on whether I can actually add different strategies, right? It's end of the day, marketing is both data driven, and it is also a little bit more in terms of a little bit more outside the box thinking and all those kind of things, right? So you need to start looking at all these approaches and on an ongoing basis. Like for example, let's take for the month of March, oh sorry, the month of April, you actually have like Easter egg hunt competition. So how can you actually make sure that you can use this looking at multiple, maybe you can look at a lot of things that are actually happening within the community, or you can actually look at, okay, is there something maybe, just as an example, right? Obviously, given the COVID situation, maybe you can actually say that, hey, get a COVID vaccine and kind of show your picture or something like that and get a free something. So you're kind of being a partner within that because you're trying to come up with a new approach, but also be a partner in the local community and all those kind of things, right? Making sure that you are focusing on these new initiatives, and then start on your budget allocation, right? In the sense that, like, okay, what amount of money that you would be spending on, right? How much you're actually going to actually um, in terms of like how much you need to basically make sure that you're testing that and all those things, right? Uh, Again, depending upon how your restaurant is, making sure that your objectives, your budgets, and all those kind of things actually have to get right. So your marketing has to be consistent. It should not be a one-off thing, and you need to make sure that you are focusing in terms of focusing on in terms of your loyalty programs, which also actually have right, in the sense that like you're catering to your existing clientele and all those kind of things, right? That should also be like if you're running a loyalty program, that you need to make sure that is also part of your marketing budget. How much does it work and all those kind of things. So you need to make sure that um, this is not just like, again, as I said, like, right, you need to make sure that you are focusing on multiple aspects of from a marketing budgeting point of view, right? You need to make sure that you are focusing on making sure that you are getting um, in terms of, again, from an A to A perspective, right, you actually have a lot more channels in terms of for you to focus and making sure that you are like building on on all these objectives, right? You have to make sure that you are focusing on how many partners, or I mean to say, how many customers you want to engage them at the awareness level, how many people you want to engage on the different, as in terms of your acquisition, or how many people you want to actually get acquired, or how many people you want them to come back, and then how many people you want or how many customers you want as part of your referral program, and all those kind of things, which in a nutshell, which will kind of drive your overall marketing campaigns, and then making sure that you actually have all these things in the sense that the different components that you're actually working on, right? Making sure that you're focusing on all these aspects, so that end of the day you are actually reaching your objective in terms of saying that, okay, my objective is to kind of increase my online sales, or increase my loyalty program, or increase my referral program, and all those kind of things, and then you're focusing on these objectives with the channels that we talked about, so that again, making sure that you are like focusing on these objectives, and with the budget that you have, and whether you're reaching those objectives or not. That would actually give, in a sense, the overall approach, right? Again, from a marketing perspective and from a budgeting perspective, you need to make sure that you are taking care of all these aspects, and making sure that you are reaching the goal, and then looking at the budgeting numbers and all those things that will actually make so that in next month, for example, when you reach your goal in the month of April, then you can start looking at what should I actually do for the month of May, so that you can kind of like, again, the you can actually build upon what you have done in the month of April and all those kind of things. So that actually ends our uh, webinar for this month. Next month, we'll again come back with specific topics that you can actually check out on our website. And if you have any questions or anything like that, you can also reach us out at marketing@mconnect.com and then talk more about our platform. If you have any questions about our loyalty program, we'll be more than happy to kind of do a demo and all those things. I know this month's webinar, we have actually, even though it is a 1 hour webinar, we are done early this month. So hopefully, if you have any questions, please do reach us out to marketing@mconnect.com. Thanks for joining this particular webinar. It will be there on the website, on our website, and also on our YouTube channel. And hopefully, we'll be seeing some of you next month.